In the last video, we took a look at creating layers and then creating a layout. And inside that layout, we made the border lines, added a title box, and then we filled in our title block. As you can see over here, you should have something similar. And we saved it as a drawing template. So every time you open up a new drawing, we always want to pick this template. And that way we always have our layout saved and on the current drawing. I'll zoom in a second just so you can take a look at what we have down here. It's a little bit hard to see. So I'll zoom in. You can see we've got our drawn by, where we can put our name. We've got our date, scale, and then the sheet. So we've got that all filled in there. Today we're going to take a look at how we actually get our drawing inside this layout, and we'll go through a couple other things too. So I'm going to zoom out a second, get us back to this point. But the first thing I'll have you do, and you notice I already did it, is we're going to rename this layout. If you right click on it, you'll notice you get a pop-up menu. Just go to rename. We can call this 8.5 by 11. Just letting us know that this is our title block if we're printing on a standard letter size sheet. We could also create a second layout, and we could make that one on our 11 by 17 layout, and that way we could print to a little larger paper and keep it on the same drawing template. We won't do that now. I'm going to go ahead and go back to model space a second, our drawing area, and I'm just going to work with you a second creating a simple drawing, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put that, using the viewport, we're going to put that into our layout. So just to get us started, let's just switch over to our object lines, and we're just going to go ahead and we'll create a nice large rectangle. And maybe the first thing we want to do is change our units, so we'll type units in the command bar, hit enter, this box pops up. Why don't you go ahead and pick architectural. That way we can enter feet. Don't worry about precision right now, that's fine. And we'll go ahead and hit OK. This allows us to enter with our units set. We'll go ahead, we'll grab a line command, and we're just once again just going to throw this out. We'll draw a line, we'll turn our ortho on so we know we get a true rectangle here, and we're going to throw this out, and we'll do about 9 feet. So make sure when you type in 9 you also type in the foot symbol so it knows feet, otherwise it'll draw it to 9 inches, and then go ahead and hit enter, and you see we get a 9-foot line. We'll make the height of this rectangle 6 feet. And we'll hit enter, come back 9 feet, and close it out here. I need to turn my snap on so I can grab that endpoint. So now I've got my rectangle drawn. We're going to do a quick dimension also of our rectangle so we can practice dimensioning. So we'll change to our dimension line weight. We can go ahead and grab dimension linear, just 2 simple dimensions on this, across the top and across the right side. Make sure we're grabbing endpoints. You can see my line weight's on. Don't necessarily have to have that on, so we'll turn it off, make it a little easier. Notice obviously my dimensions, you can't even see them because I've got a 9-foot line on the screen and I'm zoomed way out in order to catch that whole rectangle. So what we need to do is go to our dimension style, and we're going to change it up a little bit here. So we'll modify, and what we're going to do is we'll first change our fit to an overall scale. Now in the end we'll be scaling this down on our sheet to about 3/4 equals a foot. So we'll probably need a scale of about it'll be about 1 to 16, so we better scale it up 16 times in order to make that work. Primary units, we're going to change from decimal to architectural. Just feet and inches would be fine. We don't need to break it down into 16ths or anything lower than an inch. and the rest of it I think we have set already. If we were truly doing architectural drawings, we would change, instead of using this, we would use the architectural tick. I'm not going to get too picky now. And let's just go ahead, click OK, and let's close this out. And now we get 9 foot and 6 foot for our dimensions, and we can move into the second part. So from here, let's head into our 8.5 by 11 layout. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change our line weight to viewport. We only make a line weight viewport for the one reason, because we're going to actually turn that layer off. So we give it a separate layer just so that we're not turning anything else off with it. What we're going to do here is we're going to create a viewport or a window inside of this layout. And what that is that's just creating a window with which we're looking into our model space, what we have on the screen in model space. Now I could create 4 view ports here, one in each corner if I wanted 4 separate views of an object. It'd be easy enough just to create 4 viewports, but for now let's just stick to 1, and I'll show you how to do that. So we click the viewport, we're going to go to the view menu, we're going to drop down to viewports, and we just want 1. So we're going to do 1 viewport here, and it gives us the option now to grab a point and pull open a window. Now I want to make sure I don't go over top of my border line, so I'm going to turn O snap off so I don't accidentally grab a corner. I need to be inside of my border, and I'm going to pull a window out and open and then click. And you notice what happens is I end up with my drawing inside of this viewport. Didn't center very well, but it put the drawing inside the viewport. Basically it'll max out the size of your window and include the entire drawing there, scale it automatically for you, but typically not to a scale that we want to use when we actually plot this. Next step will be is to click our viewport, and we need to go ahead up top in the middle here. You'll see some different icons. We need to grab the properties menu. So we're going to look at the properties of this viewport here. And what we're most interested in is scaling, going down and looking at what we have here for our scale. And right now it's at a custom scale. And let's click on that and just see what we can find here. And you can play with it a little bit. What if I scale it 1 to 5? What's it going to look like? And it looks like that didn't work. What if we scale it at, let's go 1 to 50, a bit small that way. And what I found out earlier is going through it, measuring it 3/4 of an inch equals a foot was a perfect size for this drawing. So we'll stick to that. And that's what we ended up with when we ended up changing our dimension scale. That's a little bit what we went with. So let's stick with that, and let's go ahead and X out of it. Last thing we need to do is, if we were to plot at this point, this black viewport box would show up. We don't want it to show up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into viewport, and we're going to go ahead, and over here you'll see it says turn a layer off. I click that and the layer will basically turn off. You won't be able to see it. It's still there, but you can't see it and it won't print. So I'll turn it off and then click out of it, and you notice it says the current layer is turned off. So if I do any drawing right now, it won't show up because the layer is off. Go ahead, click OK, and you notice that box disappeared. It's gone now, which is what we wanted. We didn't want that to actually show up. From this point, you've got it ready to go. You could change the date, change a couple different things on there. We should probably change the scale, so I'm going to zoom in a second down here, and I can double click on that, and then I could change it to 3/4 inch equals 1 foot. Click out of it. Now it looks like I've got to have to move it a second so it fits in that box nice. Click on it, move it, pull it over, and that's set. 3/4 inch equals a foot. Sheet 1 of 1. If there's a whole packet of sheets, this might be one of 12 sheets that go with it. Easy to change the date. Just double click on it once again. South Christian High School will stay put, and whatever name is given to you or problem number you would change in here. So once again, we'll do zoom extents, get back to our actual drawing. We've got it already all set, and last thing we would have to do is plot. We go to File, Plot, and this is where it changes a little bit. We're not going to plot and drag a window around this anymore. Give it a second here to open up this window. With our print dialog box open, once again we need to print or find the printer that we need. Room 29. It'll kind of let us know what size paper. It'll print letters, what we want. Now what we want to plot here is we want to make sure we're plotting that layout, because that's what we've created. One common mistake is people want to change the scale. We've already scaled our drawing down into our layout, so we don't need to scale that any further. 1:1 is great. Once again, we need to make sure we're printing in monochrome. And then don't forget to always preview this before you actually go ahead and plot it, just to make sure we get what we want or what we were looking for. So we'll preview it. Once again, sorry about the delay here. And this is what we're going to get in the end, which looks right. Once again, my drawing didn't center very well. I could move that to center it, and I'll maybe show you that on a separate video, but looks good for now. And I could go ahead and hit the plot button, and it would plot out, and you would see exactly what you have here. In addition, you'd also see the different line weights, which show up, some a little bit thicker than others. So that is bringing in a drawing into a layout, plotting it, etc. From here, most of your drawings will have to be brought into a layout and printed in a layout.